Okay, one of the earliest recordings today.
Good morning, Mark.
Very early start. No, it's 7:15.
Ish.
Yeah. So you've been up since 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was tired last night when I went to bed, and I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I got up.
Didn't even hear you. Anyway, episode 85, Tuesday the 16th of June, 2020. We roll on. Just about a couple of weeks to go. We'll get there. We've got some good feedback from people, a few ideas. Don't want to drag people down though on the subjects, but we'll get to that in a second.
I think we're just having a conversation about people's opinions, but they will have their own opinions, and it's nice to sort of like hear them. But it is, everybody should realise that it's just how they feel. It's their opinion. It shouldn't be sort of like, this is the way the land lies and that's the end of the matter. So chill out, everyone, is my message.
People listening to that will think we've had some offensive posts and stuff, I would say.
No. I just think people are very quick to give their opinion today.
That's what we want. That's what we want.
We do, but in a controlled manner. If you're not prepared to compromise and you think that your opinion is the only one that matters, then it becomes very difficult to deal with. Yeah. Let's get on with the music.
We're quite happy with all the feedback, viewers. Don't be put off by that. So, right, today's music.
I'm having to go at those people who don't say anything. Perhaps I don't know. I'm not going to go at anyone. This is the problem. You can't say anything without it being misconstrued by somebody else.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, let's get on with it.
Right. We're looking for the link still with Chim Chim Chiroo from Mary Poppins by Dick Van Dyke, and this is going to be the longest I think I've played any music for a while. And it was only Fine Young Cannibals was guessed by Hubert from Canada. Nobody even had a go at it. It's so difficult. So yeah, here we go.
That's not very good, Mark.
No.
That's a bit better. I can hear it clearer there, but it started okay, then it went just completely off. I don't know what you're doing.
Try again. All right, see if you get any better here. Here we go. Go back.
No, it drops out.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a phone. It's sort of like there 1 second and gone the next.
Technology.
What was that over the top of it?
What?
What was that over the top of it?
What do you mean? Yeah, here we go. Let's try this. God, the effort I'm going to for everybody.
Oh, you'll have to listen to it back because I don't think it's very good.
No?
No. Well, that bit was all clearer.
Oh, I'm worn out now. Crikey.
You've only been up half an hour.
Yeah. All right, I'll post it later afterwards anyway. Andy Tyndall is offended at the suggestion that people get more offended today. And that's what we're up against, isn't it?
I think that was a tongue-in-cheek reaction.
Of course it was, Dawn. Of course it was. Don't get upset, Dawn. It's a joke.
I'm not getting upset. I'm pretty relaxed about most things in life until I want to poke someone in the eye.
Steve Fury pointed out that vinyl has taken over sales from CDs.
I thought that it might be. It's very popular.
It's coming back, yeah. Tony Fulbrook, I like this one. People take the opportunity to show somebody up, so they're not necessarily offended. And also, are they offended by what is being said or the person?
Yeah, very good. I don't know is the answer to that one. I suspect a lot of it is that they just want to make things difficult. I mean, I think also that you can weigh up the pros and the cons, but I think we're slightly more we've got more knowledge today than we've ever had. I think it's quicker, it's easier to access, etc. So there's some bright sparks out there, but there are some destructive personalities as well. So I totally agree with him there. I mean, you wonder about some people, don't you?
Well, including myself, I think. Yeah, I do wonder about people. Yeah. I mean, Andy Popperton says I think what he's saying that everyone has an opinion and everyone thinks that everyone's opinion is valid and they're all entitled to it. But actually, some opinions are actually more valid than others, depending on who you are, position, and stuff like that. So, but anyone can chip in, can't they?
I honestly think, because it's if you look at, I mean, I'm not having a go at anyone in the media, but if you look at the media and the way they're approaching is attack and destruction is the way of the means of how they interview people. Yeah. And so from that point of view, people are seeing this aggressiveness and I think they just take it on board. I think out there we have a culture that's being driven by other people because of what we watch on the telly, etc., and how that's presented. So maybe we should, I mean, if Piers Morgan rang me up, or anyone from the media, and said, would you like to do an interview? My answer would be no, because I know that they would just try and pick me apart rather than listen to what I've got to say. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, what did you say?
Very amusing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've given you 84 episodes. I've let you talk uninterrupted.
Yeah. No, you haven't. You interrupt occasionally.
No, you can't.
And you ask me questions. You're not very good at answering questions, are you? You ask them, but you're not very good at answering them.
You can't interrupt on Zoom. I found you have to stop as soon as the other person.
Have you got another pause button?
You don't, but I have to stop. As soon as you start talking, I have to stop. Otherwise, there's a clash. And it's accentuated in Zoom. So anyone who's used Zoom quite a lot, I think, should understand that. So you have to have a real sensitivity towards what the other person's about to say or whatever, much more than being in a meeting room. Because if you talk across each other, it all gets distorted, especially if you're recording something. Yeah. So, yeah, good. Dave Adkin, he took us back in time with vinyl. So he was talking about, he's got some one-sided vinyls that were used by radio stations for record promotions. He's got those. Yeah. And he likes to point out also that Pat is our second female that we found who gets very excited, jumps up and down, punches the air. Horrendous at football, apparently, Pat was. So, whereas Dave's much more laid back. Grazia talked about people taking offence and Netflix taking action against programmes like Little Britain and The Inbetweeners. I think Fawlty Towers has been mentioned, League of Gentlemen, quite a lot of comedy shows. And again, that's depends how you take it. I always thought they were taking the mickey out of racists and people like that. But you could take it the other way because there's so many plonkers around that actually think that's how you should behave. So you can't win sometimes, can you?
Well, no. Is it true that only black comedians can take the mickey out of blacks? I mean, it seems a ridiculous state of affairs, doesn't it? From that point of view, and the point is that they're all these protests and taking off of that because they don't want to offend people, etc. Well, there's always going to be someone who's oversensitive to something, and where do you stop? Where do you draw the line about that as well? I mean, I'm more likely to think take the violent things off of telly, because I think it's a program where it's just literally kill, kill, kill. That encourages people to think that they can go out and do the same, because they can't define fiction from reality, and because everybody tends to sort of like, they're on social media, that's their world, and maybe that's the place to go. I mean, I don't know, I really don't know, but I mean, I'm sort of like thinking, where the hell do you go from here? Because whatever you do, I mean, if I stood up and said, I disagree with the way that blacks have been treated, etc. I mean, I'm not sure I wouldn't get abuse.
No. And this is Angie Crush, is a lawyer. She just gets worn down by what people take offence by. Tones of emails, that's one thing. And she pointed this out. This is my share today. She gave us this photo, just really to show how different brains work. And I will show it here. Now, what colours do you see? That's the question from that. Now, you see what colours?
I see the latter two, the down below, the blue and black.
Yeah. Now I see white and gold. So, which is.
But as I said at the end of the day, I mean, your brain doesn't work in the same way as mine does. So, I mean, but the point being is, I'm prepared to listen to you because I care about you, and I value your opinion. I don't always think you're right, and if I think you're wrong, I might give you my opinion. But more times than not, I just think, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's very difficult. I wanted to slip in the fact that talking about the rioting and everything the other day, that in dialogue with somebody who's a firearms officer in the police, he said that they keep guns away from protests such as those in London, because it's not a good mix having demonstrations with firearm officers around. I did suggest to him, I've read somewhere, one of the countries, what they do is they spray offenders with dye that's very difficult to remove. So they've got to walk around the next few days with the dye on, and then they're arrested subsequently, which I thought was quite clever if it can be done. And he thought that was a good idea as well.
I could imagine people up in arms about that approach as well.
Yes. Yeah, they would be. They would.
I don't think that the problem being is, everyone sort of like, you're trying to find a happy house, etc. There are people out there who will go to a protest just for the sheer hell of, causing trouble. So at the end of the day, you're never going to sort of like, deal with that side of it. You just can't.
Yeah, no, it's very, very difficult. It's
Mind you, if they have blue faces or bright pink ones would be good. I quite like that idea.
I suppose it's a bit like the equivalent of social media. People get bored. They lob things in social media. They turn up at demonstrations to cause trouble or whatever. They just get it just not brightens up their lives, but it makes it less tedious perhaps sometimes. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I've been guilty in meetings of not necessarily agreeing with something, but I'll lob something in to just see how people react and get some dialogue going. Just for it's been called being a devil's advocate, which I think is good at times, because I think, Angie talks about emails and people taking offence to the tone, but there's an awful lot of people never reply to emails, and they probably don't. Similar as never post on social media. They're scared of the consequences. It being misread. But it gets very frustrating when you're trying to organise something and people don't reply.
I agree, but if you don't like social media, if you don't like emailing, pick the phone up. I mean, we haven't got rid of phones completely, have we? They can be used as simply phones, can't they? So, I mean, if I've got something really delicate to discuss with somebody, I don't email. And the reason I don't email is because it is so difficult to put the softness of tone into an email. And I think that's because if you're sort of like reading an email, you think, oh, how dare they, and your back's up. Whereas if you're talking over the phone and say, oh, I want to bring this subject up, is that okay? And they're more likely to sort of like come along and you can approach the subject. It is extremely difficult in this day and age, and everybody works differently. But I mean, we are where we are. So
Yeah, yeah. I hope that wasn't too heavy this morning. I still want to talk about do you believe in things, and maybe risks, odds and gambling. Talk about that in life. Yeah, so there's a few subjects as well we'll get round to. But there you go.
we've got another, how many?
Yeah, a few, 15 or so. So what do we call the title of that one then?
Oh, living in despair.
Okay then. Cheerio then, Dawn. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.